Hello there, I'm Big Alias, and it's time to get a little bit annoyed, a little bit sad, and a little bit scared. Oh, spooky season. Let's get scared of the future. Future! Did I scare you? I think that may have been a breakdown. Who knows? But I want to talk about a video that I watched earlier, and it was called The Internet Will End Soon, from Pursuit of Wonder, and it's about the dead internet theory. And I find this super interesting. Very interesting, because I honestly don't know where I fall in terms of whether I agree with it, what I agree with, what I don't agree with, because it's such a multifaceted notion, and it's something that we kind of at the moment still have to remain ambiguous about, because we don't know, we don't have all the facts, we don't have all the ins and outs, and how do you measure something like that. But the idea of the dead internet theory is this notion that stems from, in the opinion of this video, this study that was done all the way back in 2016, where they found that there was actually more of the internet that was operated by bots than people. This is actually more of a kind of normal statistic than you might think, or perhaps not, I don't know. But a lot of the operation, don't forget, has to be done by bots. A lot of the back end, I mean, it is, after all, just computer code. It is just bots running bots. It will be like that. Although it was a scary stat, it was a slightly scary stat, and definitely a sign of things to come. Don't forget, this was 8 years ago, rather. It was a sign of things to come. And definitely, I think now that we've definitely been hit by this in a far larger way. We're definitely seeing a lot more of this, especially with generative AI. I've already complained about this, but when everyone's generating things and the bots that are being used to generate things are learning from other bots, and that just expands and expands. And we've seen this, online with social media and things like that. And unfortunately, the approach hasn't been to lessen that and make the experience feel more human. The path that we've taken is to really double down and triple down and quadruple down in order to try to sort of desperately beg for attention on the platforms that we use, so that ad companies can then assume that they're making more off of more impressions. But the thing is, ultimately, at some point, are these advertisers going to wise up and question whether their data is accurate due to the overall scope of things? I think so, personally speaking. I mean, look at what's happened with Twitter. Tons and tons of advertisers have backed out because they realize that the audience base isn't what it used to be. It's very incel coded, and you don't really want to advertise to people like that. And you do not want to be associated with a platform that perpetuates the notion of celebrating incels and so-called alphas and what have you, and you don't want to be that. So that makes sense. So yes, eventually, hopefully, that's our path to calming down with this. That's our approach to getting there, but I'm just not sure. It's involved in so much more, and this is where we get into the Pursuit of Wonder video, because it really did, though I don't 100% think, this is not too much of a critique of the video, I don't think they added too much to the overall question that we have regarding this sort of thing. I do think it did a very good job of creating a new perspective and a new approach to the way that I feel about this, and it really shifted my perspective on these things, on the bot focused notion of the internet and algorithms was a big part of that. And I guess we kind of detract the two, but we really shouldn't. When it comes to the goofy AI image that your mum falls for, your nan falls for online, and the algorithm that we use for TikTok and YouTube and what have you, and it's very interesting, because if we just shift that focus, if we just twist the perspective just a little bit to fall in line with, quite frankly, still what it is, and we switch our view of algorithms from delivery to direction, that changes everything. That changes every approach that we have and every view that we have of this, and it kind of sucks the life out of the internet. And what I mean by this is, currently we look at the algorithm as if, like I said, in terms of delivery, it's providing us something. It's giving us oh, this will show me what I like. It will show me what is good, and I'll find that thanks to this algorithm. Oh, that's I think I glitched out. That's so cool. I like that. I can find this thing, and on the surface it does feel cool, but when we talk about the death of the internet, a lot of the time we talk about how many bots are there and how much of it is fake and things like that. But I mean, if we break down the concept of the internet, the utility of the internet, what it is choice. What it is finding our own path, doing our own thing, accessing internet in our own way, and getting to places. And that's why, one of the first things that, if not the first thing that popped off on the internet was search engines. That's why we had search bars, searching, because we had agency. We had agency to find the things that we wanted to online. And in this video that I watched, they talked about the switch from follower-focused approaches to algorithm-focused approaches. And they talked about how much of a shift that's caused, and I think that's the saddest part, because we've lost that agency, we've lost that direction, we've lost that ability to find what we want to find, and also to latch on to the things that we do want, the things that we do want to experience. And I think this has led to a noticeable shift. I mean, let's lay this out. In the past, growing up, now bear in mind I'm 30, I'm a millennial, so I apologize for that. But in the past, I would find someone that I like, someone who I agree with or who has a good approach, and I would follow them, and they would lead me, into the rest of what they had. And I it's an excellent approach to finding new things. And that's not how things work now. We'll find someone we like, and we're instantly switched to the next person, brought on to the next person, and we don't really think to follow that person because it doesn't really factor in. We slide and we slide and we slide, and we get to a new thing, which is great in terms of discovery, but in terms of actually creating a presence, it becomes an issue. And the problem with that is it leads to people, the whole point of people making great content, great things online, saying good things, having a good approach, producing things well, was that people would come back. It was the notion of people coming back to that thing to see what they would do next. And that drove some of the great things that we saw, the explosion of great, and I hate using the term, but content that we experienced a long time ago. But when you have algorithm-based things, people aren't looking to make great stuff because they know the people aren't going to come back. They're just going to have to create viral after viral after viral after viral. And the bar lowers itself. It becomes so much lower because everyone's just trying to get a viral hit. No one's trying to make something that will make you return to the page, or rather less people are. People are making stuff that hopefully will pop off again. And this is what we're seeing on things like Twitter with people with their rage bait and what have you. People aren't making accounts that are interesting that people want to follow through with and experience again. They're just trying to get that hit again. They're trying to get more and more of those hits rather than a consistent thing. And it's sad, and I don't like it. And to back up my point, I think if we look at the big channels, what they're doing now is exactly this. They're copying thumbnails, are trying to get big hit after big hit after big. That's not how things used to be. Back in the day, you would have vloggers who would tell you about their day. Not my type of thing, but each to their own. Let's players who would make funny content that you'd want to come back and see. People made sketch comedy, stuff like that. But now it's just like, how can I make something that did well previously for another channel so that I can bring that over here and have that hit, because it's just going to be one hit. And I think this is compounded by the notion that on the other end of the spectrum, the people who aren't doing that, I look at channels a lot, all over the place today, but I look at channels a lot that are big and I go, wow, these are so much bigger than they used to be. We're in the tens of millions of subscribers now, and even hundreds of millions of subscribers. That's crazy, it's bigger channels are bigger than ever. But I think if we combine that with the notion that one thing that I hadn't paid attention is that the smaller channels on the other end of the spectrum, the channels that were getting like hundreds of thousands of views or a couple of million views per video, and we're posting like once a week, but people will come back and become huge fans of those people are getting a fraction of the views they used to get. They're in the tens of thousands now. They're in the thousands, and you could argue that that's just time. It does it to us all, but it's very consistent, and so consistent that I would consider it to be a pattern. Kind of sad. Honestly, when people are making stuff that is good and makes you want to come back, it's not rewarded anymore because that won't catch onto the algorithm. It's just all attention. And I don't like it. I don't think that's cool. Do I think it's going away? I don't know. I don't know. It feels like only old people are falling for AI pictures and stuff like that. So I really don't know. Do I think the internet's going to die off? I don't care, and I kind of hope it does. Maybe the internet will never disappear, but maybe our social media style of using it will. It will always exist for things like gaming and transactions and what have you. But in the way that it is now, I don't really care if it does. I don't like social media, and if it falls off, cool. By all means, do it. Go for it. Anyway, so I got a little bit annoyed, and I still have a cold, but I'll see everyone later.
The PlayStation is only $149, and you can also get leading titles.